Need for additional tax withholding or estimated tax payments, the loss of certain tax deductions and credits, and higher taxes on Social Security benefits and higher Medicare premiums. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. Fixed annuities are long-term insurance contracts, and there is a surrender charge imposed generally during the first 5 to 7 years that you own the annuity contract. Indexed annuities are insurance contracts that, depending on the contract, may offer a guaranteed annual interest rate and some participation growth, if any, of a stock market index. Such contracts have substantial variation in terms, costs of guarantees, and features, and may cap participation or returns in significant ways. Investors are cautioned to carefully review an indexed annuity for its features, costs, risks, and how the variables are calculated. Any guarantees offered are backed by the financial strength of the insurance company. Surrender charges apply if not held to the end of the term. Withdrawals are taxed as ordinary income, and if taken prior to 59.5, a 10% federal tax penalty.
This program is paid for by JML Financial Group. All opinions or statements expressed on this program are solely those of JML Financial Group or their guests and do not reflect the views of WPHT or Odyssey. Today's program is pre-recorded.
Harry, if you watch any more of those stupid financial shows, I'm filing for divorce.
How am I going to keep up with our retirement accounts?
At JML Financial Group, we want you watching your grandkids playing soccer and sunsets in Hawaii, not the latest rumor of a market crash. Surprisingly, with proper income planning, the stock market shouldn't even be a concern. The money came in every 2 weeks while you worked. It should be the same in your retirement years. Let us show you how. Call JML Financial Group today at 856-925-6674. That's 856-925-6674. Or at jmlfinancialgroup.com. So, when your neighbor's sunbathing in the front yard,
Harry, you're an idiot. Get away from the window.
keep your eyes focused where they should be, on enjoying your retirement. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
I'm just a kid.
I'm 6.
I'm 9.
I'm 4.5.
And I've got asthma. You know just how upset I can get when I have an asthma attack.
And I know that you want to do all that you can do to help me. But you might not know
About all the different stuff that can make me have an asthma attack.
Or all the simple things you can do to fight my asthma.
You can fight it with a bear.
You can fight it with a duck.
you can fight it with a wrench.
Put my teddy bear in the freezer to wipe out dust mites.
Dry off rubber duckies and fix leaks to get rid of mold.
'Cause mold can start my asthma attacks too.
Discover other simple ways to prevent an asthma attack. Visit noattacks.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. EPA, the Ad Council, and this station.
Thanks for doing all you can to help me out.
'Cause I don't want to feel like a fish with no water.
Picture streams in our community. That's where our kids play, and dogs splash. And some of these streams provide the water we drink. But is the water in these streams clean and safe? The truth is, for most local streams, no one knows. That's a problem. One the Isaac Walton League can help you solve with the Clean Water Challenge. For almost 50 years, the Isaac Walton League of America has helped people just like you test the water in local streams, clean up pollution, and protect healthy waters. Today, the Isaac Walton League has an ambitious new goal: engage volunteers across the country to test 100,000 more streams for pollution. You can protect clean water in our community by joining the Clean Water Challenge. To get involved, visit iwla.org. That's iwla.org.
My grades were bad. I would get D's and C's.
I appeared to be doing good at my school life, but if you would see me at home, it would have been a completely different story.
I mean, it was just rough focusing on school when your mother is somebody you have to take care of. It got worse and worse and worse throughout the years.
There are students who need somebody.
They can trust someone, and it could be the first person they've ever trusted in their life.
Communities in Schools is lowering America's dropout rate by helping more than 1.3 million kids every year get whatever they need to succeed in school.
If something was going on at home, we would go just stop by Miss Liberty's office and talk to her.
Communities in Schools vouched for me when everyone else had lost hope.
You can help change the picture of education right here in your community and across the nation. Visit communitiesInschools.org.
I hear people say we can't save every kid, but I think that we can.
If not me, then who? This ethos is driving the Travis Manion Foundation to empower veterans and families of fallen heroes to develop character in future generations. In 2007, Marine First Lieutenant Travis Manion was killed in Iraq while saving his wounded teammates. Travis's legacy lives on in the 5 words he spoke before leaving for his final deployment. If not me, then who? Guided by this mantra, veterans are continuing their service, developing strong relationships within their own community, and thriving in their post-military lives. Visit travismanion.org.
Young people everywhere are making a difference.
Special Olympics has changed my life so dramatically.
It's helped me a lot to be fearless, in the real world.
My friends I've made through Special Olympics are the best people I've ever met in my life.
I truly realize that what I'm doing is for a great cause.
And it's not about disabilities, but it's about celebrating their abilities.
I've made a difference. Now it's your turn to make a difference.
Get involved at SpecialOlympics.org.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Barry, Sable, and Friends on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children.
Great song, Kirk, on the other side of the glass.
Thank my lucky stars to be living here today.
Let's just listen
the
for a
flag
minute,
still
Pac-Man.
stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the
Yes,
men who died.
indeedy. Uncle Barry is proud to be an American. Well, good morning. You have tuned in to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Yes, indeedy. It's Memorial Day weekend, a time to remember our fallen soldiers who gave us the opportunity to be free from tyranny, our enemies and foes. Sitting in studio with me, Pac-Man. Yes, we are streaming live on YouTube. Call-in numbers 855-839-1210. Don't make yourself a stranger. It's a holiday weekend. We would love to hear from you. Pac-Man, sound off.
Hey, good morning, Uncle Barry. Thank you so much for having us today. And we talked earlier this week, and you said, maybe we should pre-record this. It's a holiday weekend. Why don't we take a break? And then you said, nope, we have the best listeners out there.
Yep.
We owe them to come in and do this show live because you care about our listeners. It's a privilege to be here.
Yep.
And we appreciate them tuning in. It's time to go to work, Uncle Barry.
Yes, it is, Pac-Man. So let me just take you to the definition, basically, of Memorial Day. The origins of this holiday can be traced back to the Civil War, when Grand Army of the Republic established Decoration Day in 1868 to honor the fallen. Their tradition involved decorating the graves of fallen soldiers with flowers, a practice that continues to this day. Memorial Day is usually observed on the last Monday in May, where there is a memorial ceremonies and parades. Pac-Man, I thought it might be interesting and intriguing to compare some of the Memorial Day quotes to heroism to today's times. Let's go. Our nation owes a debt to its fallen heroes that we can never fully repay. Pac-Man, your thoughts?
First and foremost, is our government paying off that debt to these soldiers? I don't think they are today.
Why not,
I really
Pac-Man?
don't think that they are.
Why not?
For instance, leaving our borders wide open.
Mm-hmm.
How is that paying the debt to these people that fought for our borders, that fought for our country?
That's a good point, my friend. You know something? How did this administration, meaning the last one, get that far astray where it didn't care about the borders and the welfare of this country? I know it's a day of fallen soldiers, but you know something? I agree with you. They fought for the freedom of this country, and this was an invasion in one way or another. I agree with you. Let me hit you with another one. Those who have long enjoyed such privileges as they enjoy forget in time that men have died to win them. That was Franklin D. Roosevelt. Your thoughts on that?
When someone is willing to give up their life for the freedoms of others and to protect our country, we should respect that with every ounce of fiber in this nation. And unfortunately, we have several that don't do that, especially when they burn our American flag.
Yeah.
That is one thing that is completely disrespectful to all our military members.
Yeah. And I think that what's going on in this country today honestly annoys me. It's astounding that we have so many people in this country that aren't patriots. And frankly, we're going to have Colonel Madness on a little later. And I want to touch base with him because as far as I'm concerned, we have lost. Too many people have lost the value of patriotism to this country. Patriotism to me is diluted. I mean, how are we going to handle the illegals that are not American born, that really don't have a value and a culture growing up? How much of a privilege it is to be American. I mean, we got a lot of things to talk about here this morning. I don't want it to be a morbid conversation, but every time we come into this studio, I want somebody to understand there's common sense here in these four walls. And there should be common sense out there as well. And I'm not feeling it, and I'm not seeing it, and I'm disgusted, Pac-Man.
I'm right there with you. First off, the note is due. The cost of our freedom in this country is the lives of over 1.1 men and women of our military that gave their lives for our freedoms.
Yep.
I have to tell you this, Uncle Barry, and I'm not sure if you agree with me. It's actually a question, too, and I love your answer. Do our elected officials ever think about these men and women that gave up their lives and died so that person can be a president, a U.S. senator, a congressman, all the way down to local government and even a school board member? Do they remember who allowed them by giving up their lives so they can actually hold these offices?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what bothers me is almost like we need Rambo to go in and rescue our hostages. You know, President Trump, in all fairness to anybody else, as soon as he got office and became sitting in the White House, what did he do? He went to Venezuela, not him personally, but he made a call, and 6 hostages were released. We never heard of that from the last administration. How did these people get lost in space and nobody realized they were there? I know he's got some issues with Israel in trying to get our hostages. I don't think there's many left. But I'm disappointed in politicians for not defending those that have gotten captured, not only just lost their lives. We've seen, in all fairness to Mr. Biden, and this is not a knock on him per se, if you watched, he looked at his watch that day when the fallen soldiers had come home from Afghanistan, and he looked at his watch when these caskets were being paraded. How have we lost sympathy and compassion? I don't know why. I haven't. Why have they?
I can't speak for the previous administration, but it was disgraceful. I feel that the question I just asked you, or even the statement I made, that Biden, as an elected official, and those 1.1 million American lives that were lost fighting for our freedoms, he just didn't care. He never thought about those. President Trump thinks about that.
All the time, Pac-Man.
If you're an American citizen and you are held hostage anywhere in the world, he is working night and day to get you back on American soil.
Yep.
I have to say that the previous administration seemed to not care about American citizens that so many of our military members lost their lives for.
Yep.
He just disregarded it.
Well, I have to tell you the truth. I find, and I don't want to talk about anybody in particular, but there are a lot of politicians that lose being humble once they get into office. I have to tell you, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, Trump, the orange man, he ain't that way. He's a different guy. He's sensitive, and I believe that he has put people in his cabinet that are sensitive as well. Pam Bondi. Okay, now we have Judge Janine. We have Pete. We have Elon Musk. These are people that care about mankind. And I have to tell you the truth. We need to put America first. And we need to preserve the lives that were lost. So many lives that were lost for us, going all the way back from the first shot that was heard around the world. It's been a long time. You know, we have a lot of neat things in Philly, a lot of museums. Obviously, we have the Liberty Bell, we have City Hall and things of that nature. There's a lot of cool things to go see and remember our heritage, especially for the people that we've lost. Now, I saw something on Facebook the other day that really touched me. It was a lady with her child who had to be 6 months old, laying on the grave of her husband that lost his life for this country. If that doesn't touch you, Pac-Man, what does?
You know, I was in Arlington Cemetery. I laid the wreaths there at Christmas time. You know, I went with my wife, Gina, and my son, Steven, one year, and then we brought the rest of the family the following year. And it's so surreal when you go there. When you go there and you see the grave after grave after grave of these people, they don't know us, but they were willing to put their lives on the line to protect our freedoms.
Yep.
And it's a very moving experience. And when you showed me that picture too, I said I was there, and it is extremely, extremely moving for that. As our government has failed that young mother and that child, because they're worrying more about protecting illegals than they are for our military members and their families.
How do we get back on track, man?
You know, President Trump, first and foremost, is doing that. You know, we'll talk to the Colonel a little bit more about what's happening with Gold Star families and other things. But one thing that does, and I'm getting a little off track here, and I apologize, Uncle Barry, but it bothers me when I see the Tunnels to Towers commercials.
Begging for money.
Right.
Why?
It actually bothers me.
Yep.
And I say, all the money we have given.
I agree.
You know, to the Ukraine and all these things.
Yep.
Every single military family that has lost a loved one should be taken care of. Every single military member that was hurt in active duty or wherever should be taken care of.
Yep.
We are paying taxpayer dollars to support our military, but our government is sending it someplace else and not taking care of them. There should be no charity involved, and I'm not knocking their charity. They do phenomenal work. I donate to it.
They shouldn't have to ask for money.
They shouldn't have to ask for money. You're correct.
Listen, a hero is someone who understands the responsibility that comes with freedom. Kurt, let's take a break. Let's get the Colonel on the line. Much to talk about. You are listening on Memorial Day, and we appreciate you tuning in with us. The Barry Sable Show with Friends, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We will see you on the other side.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Here's the hard truth. Every 6 years, your dollar loses half its buying power. That means a $100,000 savings account today could feel like $50,000 by 2031. And you see it every time you fill up your tank, buy groceries, or pay the bills. Prices are up. Your dollar is down. But there's a simple way to protect the value of your savings with something real, something proven. Gold, an asset that holds its value over time. That's why I trust Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to protect your savings savings with physical gold or silver. No high-pressure sales, no call centers. Just honest guidance, one-on-one support, and transparent pricing. And right now, when you open a qualified account, Noble Gold will send you a free 10-ounce silver American flag bar as a thank you. Head to noblegoldinvestments.com today to learn more. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? Not yet. Do it today. Okay. At 1210 WPHT.
Yes, indeedy, we are back on Memorial Day. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. We are in studio, me and Pac-Man. Before we go to our guest, Pac-Man, I know you want to say something to me. Go ahead.
You did say something in the first section about fallen heroes, so let me get this out, and also mentioning Philadelphia.
Go ahead.
I have to ask you, is Philadelphia DA Krasner honoring or paying back Philadelphia-born Sergeant William Rivers after he was killed in a drone attack in 2024 while deployed to Jordan fighting terrorists so they won't harm American citizens? When Krasner allowed gangs of criminals to terrorize our city, and even worse, he sympathizes with Hamas supporters and refuses to charge them as they terrorize Jewish students on our for practicing their religion on our college campuses. Freedom of religion is what this country was founded on.
Yep.
So many gave their lives to protect freedom. Krasner is ignoring our obligation to these fallen heroes. He's not paying the debt back.
Mr. Krasner, the 855-839-1210 would love to hear from you. If you have a comment to what Pac-Man said and have something interesting to offer, we're going to be here for the next 45 minutes. Colonel Rob Maness, a military career which spanned 32 years, has led numerous combat operations, including as a bomber squadron commander in Enduring Freedom and Iraqi Freedom. No stranger to the Barry Sable Show with Friends. He has his own podcast called The Rob Maness Show. Happy Memorial Day, my friend. Thank you so much for spending time with us on this holiday weekend. So appreciated. What are your thoughts, Colonel?
Good morning, Barry. It's good to be with you.
Yes,
Happy
sir.
Sunday morning, Philadelphia.
Yes. Listen, you've been listening, I'm sure, for the last few minutes. I guess my question to you is, you in 32 years saw so many people, so many soldiers on both sides lose their lives. Story time. Go ahead. The time is yours.
Yeah, and none of them, reside in my memory more than a good friend of mine who was killed on the first night of Iraqi Freedom. His name was Greg Stone. He was U.S. Air Force Major at the time. His flying profession was backseater in B-1s, just like me. We were captains together.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially grew up in the flying game together in the B-1 bomber. And he was one of the brightest people I've ever met. He was also an entrepreneur. Him and a buddy of ours started one of the first high-speed internet companies in Rapid City, South Dakota, totally disconnected from their active duty Air Force lives. But, he was killed on night one of Iraqi Freedom by a Muslim U.S. Army sergeant.
Wow.
And I'm not going to give that guy even the
The time of day.
mention of his name.
Of
I'm not going to mention his name, but I think it's critically important that people understand Greg's sacrifice, that he was there to, save as many lives as possible when we were going into a war. Whether you agree with it or not, that's beside the point when we're talking about young Americans giving their lives for the country and everything. He was there to save as many lives as he could. I mean, that was actually a stated goal of his, from what I understood, because he was working with the Army as an air liaison officer, so he'd be calling in airstrikes from aircraft like ours, the B-1 bomber.
Colonel, on this show, we use the line, we want to pull back the curtain. We want to hear the things that we don't know. The time again is yours. Tell us.
Yeah, what you don't know is that when men and women like Greg go into combat, they're leaving him behind things like his sons, little kids. And, they have special, his two sons they're great kids. They had a great dad. He loved them dearly. He was promising to take them to Disney World when he got back, I think, from that trip. And it's just something that never happened. So he left those kids, and they're adults now, obviously. And I'm sure they still love their dad.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
And they remember him.
Yep.
On this day is the day, Memorial Day is the day that it's not for veterans like me. It's for the men and women that we've lost in wartime, that have given what Abraham Lincoln called the last full measure of devotion to their country. And I think that's one of the things that most Americans don't realize is just how much dedication and sacrifice it takes to get to where you're in a position like Greg was in.
Yeah.
It takes years and years of dedication and training and successes and failures and dusting yourself off and getting back up on your feet and going again, just so you can put yourself in a position where you're risking your life for your fellow countrymen.
Let me ask you a question. When you were overseas and you were involved in combat, was there ever a time where yourself and the soldiers that were involved with you ever thought that America didn't have your back like we saw recently? Was there ever a time that you felt that kind of energy that if, God forbid, something happened, that nobody was coming to get you?
No, not really in our time. Towards the end of my time, at the end of my last combat deployment, I remember that I recommended to my boss, who was the general in charge of all combat air forces in the theater, that and this was mid-2005, and we had won the war in Afghanistan. The war in Iraq didn't go that well, and we're in the middle of trying to correct that. And in Afghanistan, where I was primarily responsible for combat operations in my squadron, I told my boss, I said, look, we've defeated the enemy there. It's time to leave and turn the country back over to the folks that own it, And unfortunately, the country didn't do that. Political leadership.
Let me ask you.
Turn the country back over and get us out.
Of course.
And we ended up in the August 2022 debacle that killed 13 Americans unnecessarily. And I think it was after that we saw, the leadership in the country really just didn't have our backs.
Listen, before I turn you over to Pac-Man, my question really is, and I'm trying to get to the grassroots, was there ever a time when soldiers from America ever thought, what in the world are we doing? We are fighting in foreign land. It's not like the Russians are coming up the turnpike and we need to protect ourselves. We are fighting in these crazy wars, Vietnam, Iraq, in places, Afghanistan. Was there ever a time when the morale was, something, I like to just pack up and go home, because what are we doing here?
Well, yeah, there was. It was after my last time in combat, all that occurred, and the question, we started asking questions, both here, those of us that were here at home, those folks that were fighting and dying in combat still, we're asking that question, what are we doing?
Yes.
Our strategy is weak. We really had no strategy toward the end there, and I think that's why you saw the disaster of the Afghanistan withdrawal,
Yes.
which is really a retreat, and a rout by the enemy of us. So yes, of course. I mean, and that happened obviously in Vietnam, the Vietnam days. We thought we had, as a country, overcome that, and as a military, overcome that too. To be honest with you, most of the time I served in the military, we thought we had overcome that issue, but we didn't, obviously. And the political leadership in this country and the senior officers in this country, the generals and admirals, went along with it, unfortunately. And the folks working the ground and doing the fighting and dying, we're questioning it and still question it today. As a matter of fact, I think that's why a lot of us supported and voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah,
because
go ahead.
And I've run on that political
Pac-Man.
plank myself.
To my colonel, who I love to death. Hey, listen, by the way, from what I understand, you're wearing an Eagles sweatshirt, Super Bowl sweatshirt from time to time. True or false?
True, my friend. And thank you very much for that sweatshirt.
You're welcome. Well deserved. Go ahead, Pac-Man.
Good morning, Colonel. It's Pac, man, and we really appreciate you calling in. And I have a question for you. And if you want to talk a little bit about our Gold Star families, I understand today is for our fallen soldiers, but their families are still here. And in my opinion, I think they were completely ignored under the Biden administration. And I know President Trump does a good job of trying to bring them to the forefront now. But what are your thoughts or observations on this?
Oh, thanks for the question. I appreciate that.
That's a great question.
Yeah, the disrespect for the Gold Star families that we've seen politicians and even some generals and admirals, especially over the last 5 years or so, do is just incredibly poor. It's poor in manners. It's poor in supporting your country, and it's just darn right disrespectful. And these people have given everything for this country.
Yep.
Their sons or daughters have died for the country. The families left. And they should have all of the respect and honors that we could possibly bestow upon them every single day, not just on Memorial Day, although Memorial Day is the official day that we do it. It should be every day. They shouldn't want for anything.
Yep.
And we need to see more of that. We need to see our politicians not say no when, money needs to be appropriated for funding for this or that, for the benefits for those families. And their kids, the folks' kids should never want for anything in this country. And it's unfortunate that we've come to the place where we're at, where partisan politics gets involved.
Well, Colonel, let me tell you.
We need to make sure that ends.
Of course.
Right away. I think Mr. Trump will help do that.
Yep. Pac-Man and I were talking on break, and something that annoys us, what is it, Towers a Tunnel? Is that correct, how it's said? They are on television, basically, and I don't want to use the word begging, but asking for money for people that have fallen, whether they're policemen, firemen, soldiers. To me, we spend so much money. Why hasn't anybody made a priority to those that have fallen and the families that have to go on? Young kids will never know their dad. Wives, can I tell you something, that have lost their husbands. What is it with this country that just isn't doing what it should do?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I've met Frank Siller a couple of times, the guy that founded Tunnels for Towers, and they're a great organization. They build homes for pay off mortgages, and why isn't the United States doing that for these people?
Give me the answer. Give it to me.
Exactly.
32 years, Pops. Give it to me.
The answer is because partisan politics and power politics comes into play. And anytime an effort like that tries to get traction, it gets killed for other priorities, like taking care of illegal aliens. We spend hundreds of millions of dollars in this country taking care of illegal aliens before we do Americans. And of all the Americans that should be put first, the survivors and the Gold Star families of these Americans that have died in wartime should be taken care of first. There should be no question. There should be no question. There's two things that the Constitution of the United States was set up for. One is the national defense of the country, and a part of the national defense of the country is taking care of those who have borne the burdens of war.
I agree.
Okay, that's one of those things. So the VA and the Department of Defense should have the highest priority of any expenditure that that the politicians pass, and they don't. They just don't. And it's despicable. And the American people need to rise up and start voting these kind of politicians out.
Oh, I agree. Go ahead, Pac-Man.
So actually, Colonel, it brings us back to something that we were talking about earlier. Then I'm going to talk about judges, and we talked about we paying our debt to our military members that gave their lives. So do you think that the judges are paying off this debt in a timely fashion to our fallen military members when they ignore the Constitution and the commander-in-chief and govern from the bench? Could they ever do this in China or North Korea, where our military members fought for their freedom to be a judge?
Look, the reason why what these judges in America are doing today is because they do those kinds of things in the governments of communist China or North Korea or Venezuela, the dictator government of Venezuela, or Cuba. That's what judges do. Argentina. That's what those kind of countries' judges get to do. In our country, it's not supposed to be that way. They destroy the credibility of the Constitution of the United States, and the Constitution of the United States is what every military member swears an oath to possibly give their life to support and defend every single time they raise their right hand. And when they actually go do it, that's what they're dying for, and they're not going to be able to say that that is a good thing when you have judges destroying the Constitution of the United States and breaking the law every time they make a decision to do something like prevent the President of the United States from managing his own bureaucracy.
Colonel Magnus, Uncle Barry is up for a break. Is it breakfast time, or do I have you for another 5 minutes? You tell me.
You got another 5 minutes.
There you go. I love you. You are listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Sitting in studio with me, Pac-Man. We have Colonel Magnus on the phone, on the line. He's not going anywhere. Praise be the Lord. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
I really need funding to expand my inventory.
Swish Funding can help you expand inventory, upgrade equipment, and boost your cash flow.
Well, okay, but I need funding fast.
Swish Funding provides funding from $25,000 to $2 million with payment terms tailored to your needs and cash in your account in less than 24 hours.
So what's the catch?
No catch. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000, you could qualify. Just go to swishfunding.com to apply. That's swishfunding.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
A mass shooting in Chester Friday night leaves a 16-year-old dead, 4 others wounded, and Penn State trustees voting to close 7 of 19 branch campuses. The school's Abington campus won't be affected.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
From Broomall to Blackwood, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Memorial Day weekend, we are live in studio, Pac-Man and I, on the line, Colonel Rob Manis. Colonel, my question to you is patriotism being diluted? Way too many people living in this country that unfortunately were not American born, not proud to be Americans, do not understand exactly what you're talking about. Cultural differences, yes or no, or your thoughts?
Oh, of course it is, Barry. You know, that's one of the disasters of the mass illegal immigration that we've experienced for decades now. Yep. You know, when I ran for U.S. Senate in 2014 against Bill Cassidy and Mary Landrieu, border security, ending the endless war policy, and energy independence were my top 3 issues, and border security, because I kept talking to legal immigrants, especially from Mexico, Central and South America, and they were angry that our government was allowing these people to come in illegally and circumventing the regular process. Yep. And these people that I talked to that were raising the issue with me were telling me that they came here because they loved our country, but the process made sure that only the people that loved the country and swore to uphold its constitution and ideas over the countries that they were coming from were allowed to enter and allowed to become legal residents or American citizens eventually. And yep. That's the problem with you when you allow 20 million illegals to come into this country illegally without vetting, without process, without having to learn about the United States of America, without having to swear an oath to only support and defend the Constitution of the United States and say that they will uphold our values and our way of life. That is a recipe for disaster, and the disaster is exactly what you described. It exhibits itself with a watering down of patriotism, but it gets much worse than that. The example of the socialist, Islamist, pro-Islamist assassin that shot 2 young Americans, a young man and woman in the back at the Jewish Museum the other night in Washington, D.C., is just the latest outward symptom that you see of this disaster that's building and building and building and is going to happen if we don't nip it in the bud.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, if you go to Russia, China, Japan, India, Brazil, the bigger countries, they don't have these issues that we're facing today. I think that we are absolutely a melting pot. And I have to tell you the truth. You know, Donald Trump, if you remember, made a statement in his first administration when he was elected. And he said, if we're going to let people into this country, let's let people into this country that are professionals, doctors, lawyers, accountants, people that could really contribute to the fabric of America. I'm not saying others, manual labor is not important. I'm not saying that. But we have so many people that come into this country, never get assimilated, do not speak the English language. It's not cool, man. And me personally, I've said it on the air so many times. I think America is faltering and failing. And one of these days you're going to look up and things are not going to be the freedom that we all share like we do on Memorial Day. Your thoughts?
I hate to tell you, but it's already happening right before our eyes.
Oh, I agree.
If we don't get action taken, the real action to stop it, very, very soon, the transformation will be complete. And those of us that grew up and our kids who were taught this grew up honoring the values of the Declaration of Independence, which we're celebrating next year, the 250th anniversary.
Yes.
We just celebrated the 250th anniversary of the shot heard around the world on April 19th of Lexington and Concord. We're about to celebrate the 250th anniversary on Flag Day on June 14th of the United States Army with the big parade in Washington, D.C. Those people that know that we should celebrate that are going to dwindle and dwindle and dwindle.
Yep.
And the types like this terrorist from Chicago who went to D.C. and killed those two young people, shot them in the back. The young lady, I don't know if you know the story, but the young lady crawled away who was still alive, and he reloaded and walked over to her and emptied another magazine into her back.
Wow.
That's what kind of disaster that's happening in this country already right before your eyes, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people like that guy that are in this country. They're citizens, they're non-citizens, they're legal, they're illegal, and we've done it to ourselves.
Yes,
and
we
we
have.
better get control of that. We better get control of that, or it will continue to get worse.
Go ahead, Pac-Man.
Colonel, I have to ask you about today now. So our new Secretary of Defense, Pete, and I could say that because when I met him, he said, please call me Pete. Do you feel that, of course, he has our military members' best interests at heart, and also do you feel that he is repaying that debt that our country owes all of these people, all these military members that gave their lives for our country?
Oh, he absolutely is. You know, he's a political appointee, and I know Pete worked with him several times through the last 12 years or so. And he's somebody that comes from where I come from. You know, I was enlisted. He was in the Army. I was in the Air Force. We both became officers and worked in the field, worked in combat. We understand what the troops are going through, what their families are going through. And you're not going to find anyone better. He's smart. And he's dedicated to the mission. He's dedicated to the principles of America first. We can't ask for a better Secretary of Defense and Commander-in-Chief Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, because they have our backs. They've even said it in their speeches. Donald Trump just told the troops over in the Middle East, no more political correctness. We have your back. That's a direct message to the commanders and the senior non-commissioned officers in the U.S. Armed Forces that no more BS, folks. Don't put up with it. Call it out when you see it, and get rid of the people that are pushing that type of Marxist indoctrination through DEI and critical race theory and woke ideology and all that mess that's been foisted upon our military before, because we're back to lethality, and lethality is what saves American people in uniforms lives in wartime. That is it. And it's also what keeps us from having to go to war, and that's the big change that we see, and why a lot of people voted for Donald Trump. And Pete Hegseth is the greatest choice to lead the Secretary
I agree.
of Defense.
Go ahead, Pac-Man.
I'm glad we're seeing that. Colonel, I want to give you a quote here. You will never do anything in this world without courage. It is the greatest quality of the mind next to honor. And that was Aristotle. I'd like your thoughts on that, how it pertains to our military members today.
that true words have never been spoken or written down, Pac-Man. The disaster of Afghanistan I mentioned before, the only military officer punished for that disaster was the U.S. Marine Lieutenant Colonel that dared to go on video and ask the admirals and generals if any of them threw their stars on the table and said, no, we're not going to do it this way, and resigned. And they didn't. He got punished for that. He's now in the Department of Defense. Pete Hegseth appointed him to senior advisor to the Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness, and he's leading the investigations into that debacle from those senior leaders to find out what decisions they made, what they told the president, and why things came out like that, and will hold people accountable. That is what we're looking for, because the moral courage that collapsed in the United States Armed Forces, that was shown through that Afghanistan withdrawal, that was really shown worse in the COVID-19 pandemic, when you had every general and admiral, with the exception of maybe one or two, said, we're going to make you take this experimental emergency use authorization vaccine that we know is going to harm you. We're not going to give you informed consent. And they violated several laws in that short statement that I just made, and made that an unlawful order. And Secretary Hegseth has now said it and put it in writing that it was an unlawful order. And we're going to restore the thousands of people that were punished and kicked out of the armed forces for that. We have a long way to go to get there, but the process has started. But the big thing that needs to happen is to hold those generals accountable and admirals accountable for the collapse of their moral courage.
Yep.
It's much more difficult to have moral courage in the face of an unlawful order from the Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America and not implement it by resigning and demanding that it be dropped and not done. Then it takes much more courage to do that than it does to face bullets on the front line in combat. Yep. And that's what we're lacking, is this moral courage, and that's what was being talked about.
Colonel Rob Maness, I got you for more than 5 minutes. I know that you're late for breakfast with your wife. Send me the check. I'd be more than happy to pay. I want to tell you, you are always generous with your time to the Barry Sable Show with Friends, and I appreciate you. Have a great Memorial Day. Thanks for calling in and spending time. You have been listening to the Barry Sable Show with Friends. Talk radio, only 1210 WPHT. We will see you on the other side of the break.
Don't get left in the dark. Power up with a Generac generator from MT Rule, your local Generac generator dealer. Certified technicians properly size and install your generator with true turnkey service. Free estimates, financing options, peace of mind, and annual service contracts. Plus, 1210 listeners get a special offer, a 5-year extended warranty, 1 year of free mobile link monitoring, and a free whole house surge protector. Call 610-539-2920. 610-539-2920.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
A series you can't bear to miss. Come see the Phils host the Cubs on Monday, June 9th and Tuesday, June 10th, both at 6:45, and Wednesday, June 11th at 1:05. Order tickets now at Phillies.com. Head on over to Citizens Bank Park on Thursday, May 29th at 6:45 when the Phillies take on the Braves, and all fans take home a retro Phillies cap presented by SEI. Snag your seats today at Phillies.com.
I really need funding to expand my inventory.
Swish Funding can help you expand inventory, upgrade equipment, and boost your cash flow.
Well, okay, but I need funding fast.
Swish Funding provides funding from $25,000 to $2 million with payment terms tailored to your needs and cash in your account in less than 24 hours.
So, what's the catch?
No catch. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000, you could qualify. Just go to swishfunding.com to apply. That's swishfunding.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Free speech lives here. We're Dom Giordano, weekdays noon till 3 on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
Yes, indeed, we are back. You are listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. And yes, I do appreciate you sitting in studio with me, Pac-Man. Pac-Man, 2 comments before I let you go. Philadelphia Phillies, we are so proud of you. You're on such a great winning streak. You make our lives during the summer months happy when you're winning, and you are winning. Second of all, I was going, I wasn't going, I was going, I wasn't going. I finally decided to go. I might have been the only straight guy there last night. 20,000 people watched Barry Manilow last night. What a treat that show was. He brings tears to your eyes. You know why? Because he brings out the romanticism of this country. Maybe what we need is more of that. Pac-Man, your thoughts?
First off, I love what the Phillies are doing. I love Barry Manilow.
Yes.
And I'm glad you went and had a good time last night.
I did.
He's a great entertainer.
Yes. Icon, incidentally. And when we lose people like that, like we've lost Michael Jackson, we've lost Whitney Houston, and so many others, I got to tell you, this guy is a treasure. I hope he lives forever. 20,000 people packed into the Wells Fargo Center, and not one person left until the end. What a show he put last night. Go ahead, Pac-Man.
I know
Get me back on track.
I'm going to get back on track. So I
Go
just
ahead.
have to get one statement out.
Go ahead.
We were a little deep this show, and it's important we were. But I will say, no matter all the imperfections, the lack of competency in our government, this is still the best nation on earth.
Yep.
And our military members know that as they enlist on their own will to fight and protect for our country. Our listeners should remember all those that were lost their lives fighting for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we should be fighting for them by protecting our freedom, by pushing back against the elected officials that want to take our freedoms away and change the core principles of our country.
Yep. That's my straight man, Pac-Man. Lois from Florida. Welcome to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Good morning.
Hey, thank you so much, Pac-Man, Barry.
Thank you.
You do us a great honor. No matter what it is, you guys really do what we need to do. And I hope that Beth finds everything he needs to find out, what happened, and everything.
Yep.
So, but
Tell
I
us
thank you.
what's going on in Florida. Give us a little ray of sunshine.
It's hot here. It's hot, 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 and I can't stand it. I hate hot. But we're supposed to have a cool down. We had a little rain yesterday. We're entering our rainy season starting in June, so we should be getting some more rain.
Yep.
And, of course, then I think hurricane season starts sometime in June. So we'll see. But I'm in a street that we're low line, and it can handle everything. So
Listen.
But I want to thank you because you guys.
Thank you.
And listen to the Colonel. I think it was wonderful.
Wasn't he great? What didn't he do a great
Yeah.
job today? My God,
He
this guy
did.
speaks from the
Yeah.
heart, huh?
He does. And I thank everybody. And I thank you, Barry, because without you, we wouldn't have this opportunity, you know, because I'm a proud Jewish American. You're a proud Jewish American. And it's like, I'm not giving up my little thing on my door.
Well,
to
listen, last
anybody.
weekend, just so you know, I converted. So I was Jewish for 73 years. I'm now known as Uncle Barry Baldini. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to the last show. So bear with me. I gave 73 years. Now I switched gears. Listen, thanks for the call. Have a happy Memorial Day.
Okay, well, I'm a proud Jewish woman.
There
I'll
you
never
go.
convert to anything else.
Thank you,
Well,
my
have
friend.
A great day, okay?
You bet.
Thank you, Lois.
Listen, we are a
Bye.
show for all, as you know, Pac-Man. Everybody matters to me. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, liberal. I will tell you this much. You talk about liberal, and I didn't get a chance to ask the colonel. You know, we see in Israel that it's mandatory 2 years. You get out of high school, you go into the service. You know, you could call me a conservative all you want. I'm as liberal at times as they come. I'd love to see mandatory. You get out of high school, 2 years you have to give your country. I don't care if it's behind a desk. I don't care what it is and which service it is. I believe that we need to put the train on the track with our American youth. Your thoughts on that?
I think it's a great thing. Maybe they don't have to be military members, but those 2 years coming out of high school, or if they go to college and you know they're on the government dime going to college, 2 years of community service, helping our veterans that are homeless, helping people, you know, get out of poverty, spend that time, you know, to build up their country and learning about our patriotism.
Kurt, you have something special for me. I want to hear from Kate before we end the show today. Can you give me her, please? The Flyers believe. Kate, make us believe. I used to love this lady. My God. Goosebumps, pal. One more chorus. Come on, Kurt. Oh, my God. Pac-Man, 10 seconds to wrap us up. Unfortunately, our hour has been spent. Give it to me 10 seconds.
All I can say is, let's go Flyers, let's go Gene Hart.
There you go. Oh, he was a customer of mine and a buddy of mine. May God bless the courage, I can't even get it out, the courage of men and women who sacrificed all of our freedom, who believed, if not me, then who? I didn't get that right, but you got the point. If not me, then who? Give me my song, my friend. To Pac-Man and Colonel Menace, you're the best, always dependable. Thanks for joining me this morning. Delaware Valley, on your busy Memorial Day weekend, we hope that we brought some light and shed some happiness into your lives. You have been listening to The Barry Sable Show with friends. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Have a great week, a healthy week, a safe week, a great Memorial Day. And we will see you next weekend. Thanks for always being there. I appreciate you, Mr. Pac-Man, and especially our listeners. We could not do it without you every single weekend.
The very first thing you taught me was to be fair. No cutting in line. Play by the rules.